Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. How are you? How was the last lecture? My God, I still can't get over the last lectures. What information did I gain? We ended up at Hazrat Umar ibn al-Khattab famous hadith where he is saying to everyone that had it not been for you were never going to harm us. This was the famous hadith of Umar al-Bukhari, hadith 162, that had he not seen Nabi Sallallahu touching and kissing it, he wouldn't have. My God, what an experience. But we'll do a short recap very fast. Again, we know Nabi Sallallahu caravan had entered Makkah. He did his ghusl, he did his wudu before entering the Kaaba. After entering the Kaaba, he went directly straight to Hajj al-Aswad, touched, kissed, did his sujood, prayed, and generally he had a practice of praying 2 rakah of the Atayatul Masjid, but he didn't do that. He directly went from Bani al-Shaiba gate. Small recap. And we also know in that last lecture he did come across to some of the boys, where he made one boy sit on his camel, and that is it. He camped at Thua also, and we will now directly straight head towards Wales to save some time. And we had stopped here at Hajj al-Aswad, this famous hadith of Umar ibn al-Khattab. Again, Nabi was crying profusely when he saw Hajj al-Aswad. My goodness gracious. And he even said to Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu, that is the place to cry. Again, I'll repeat, he is crying. Can't even imagine him crying. I can't imagine it. I'm speechless. Last time also, when I had just thought of that images, just those scenes where our Nabi would be crying. You know, usually when you would be coming across the very autobiography of Nabi, it's okay, fine. You would be finding encounters of him where he is advising, lecturing, and doing his activities. So there we will come to know that, okay, fine, his activities are the general things which have been going on. That's okay, fine, I agree. But never, very rarely would come across. See, again, I would only try to imagine that day of Taif, but crying. Even the earlier Umrahs which he has done, this is the only Hajj he is doing. So the earlier Umrahs also had done. I hadn't read about him crying. So this was very informative for me, and I would keep this piece of lecture, this information with me forever. Hopefully, Ya Rab, Allah makes me keeps till the day I'm alive. I hope to never forget this info which I garnered from the last lecture. Moving ahead, today we are at Tawaf. He is going to do his Tawaf. Okay. I'll just like to also tell one more thing, that I did stop doing this practice of the highlighted points which are there and trying to give additional footnotes on those because to save time. You see, I'll try to compile separately somewhere. I'll think of making a series of lectures there separately, because we'll do encounter all of these highlighted, but the small sections which are like Tawaf and the Hajj al-Aswad, the small sections which come in the middle of the lecture. We'll compile them all separately, and at that time we will try to cover them, because at this stage in the middle of this, when I try to do it, now the lecture becomes longer. This image of pilgrims doing Tawaf, this has now changed. The current status is totally different of this. The current construction far more convenient to the pilgrim. You know, in this time, if you see this image, there was far more of bigger danger of stampedes also occurring. This time, security wise, convenience wise, access wise, far more satisfactory, commendable. Hats off to the Saudi government. How much we will praise them, limitless. Unlike this, where there was more likely chance, of course, all in the hands of Allah. If Allah wills to, an accident or mishap might happen. If He doesn't, will not. But in the present situation, in the present status, the construction status which we have visited 1 year earlier, excellent. So, you know, if you are there, in this, the divisions are far more better now, as you would know. There is a proper boundaries there, there's security there, the guards are there. So, far more lesser chances of any crowded stampede happening, okay? Moving ahead, Tawaf. the Prophet ﷺ, after these scenes where he has cried, he finishes crying, and then Prophet ﷺ performed tawaf, circumambulating the Kaaba 7 times. He is doing his circumambulation, the tawaf. Again, this is what I was telling, that if I want to highlight this, I might do it, but it will make a lecture longer. And I want to read about the tawaf. These are the small important footnotes which I want to do, but then it will make the lecture longer. So I stopped doing this. Try to compile all of them, and once and for all only we'll try to finish them. He was wearing a green Yemeni mantle which he had draped around his right armpit, and there was a green Yemeni mantle, and over his left shoulder, exposing his right shoulder and right arm. This is again is called Itadeba, which we do. Sahih Hadith, Abu Dawud. Tawaf is going on, and on his armpit he has worn a green Yemeni mantle. And how did he wear it? He draped it below his right arm. Okay. And his left shoulder was exposed, which is called Itadeba, which all Muslims do. Sahih Hadith is there. And during his tawaf, he said, be very attentive. 1, 2, 3, whenever we will do, this is the way you should do. Now Nabi ﷺ passed by a man who had tied his hands to another person. There is a narration which we'll come to know, with a strap or a piece of rope. Now he has just come across, he is doing his tawaf. Okay. At that time, he come across one man from his caravan. Now all the caravan people who are following Nabi ﷺ, what he is doing, and they are also doing their tawaf. But he had tied his hand to another person's hand, so they might not separate. This was a custom, this was a practice of Arabs during the pilgrimage before the advent of Islam. They would also do it their own pilgrimage, but their own steps, of course, to the idols. And and then majority of the people from here in the caravan of Nabi ﷺ, they are from that era only, that Jahiliya area. Now Nabi ﷺ, after staying with Nabi, and after the Islam had come, the teachings of Islam had become popular, all these people, though they might be having some customs and practices from that era, they don't tend to forget them, so they try to bring those practices along with them only during their followings of Islam also. Nabi would stop them, like how this. Now here we have a narration from Abdullah ibn Abbas, so they are in that zone. For every small thing they might not ask our Prophet ﷺ, but when the Prophet ﷺ, whenever he will observe, he will object. There is a narration, Prophet ﷺ was observing tawaf of the Kaaba. He passed by a person who had tied his hands to another person with a rope or a string or something of that nature. So he is seeing them, two fellows who have just tied both of them. They don't want to separate from each other. The Prophet ﷺ cut it with his own hands. The moment he saw it, from his own hands he cut. So they both become separated. And there is this hadith, unbelievable, so informative. 1620 Al-Bukhari hadith and Nasai hadith 2921, you can read people. And he's telling them, don't tie like this, because this is the practice of the Jahiliyyah. Don't do this. Hold him with his hand and do it. Do your tawaf. Now, again, I would like to mention, as we would read in my previous lectures also, anything which happens over here, these authors who have devised this mashallah piece of work, good piece of work, they only want to inform us, give us knowledge, they'll give us light that, okay, you also be careful of this thing. So in that case, you also don't do. For example, you are doing with your wife, and you are afraid, oh, my wife might separate from me, so we should tie her with some rope, or for that matter, a scarf. Don't do that. Hold her hand. Let your wife hold your hand, but don't tie. Don't tie, because Nabi had cut the very rope these two guys had, because that was the practice done during the time of Jahiliyyah. Prophet ﷺ continued to purge each ritual of practices that had been invented and introduced into the pilgrimage during Jahiliyyah, returning each rites to his original form. This was the major motive of putting this point in this paragraph, that whenever Nabi ﷺ would come across any of the practice that had been invented during the time of Jahiliyyah, the Jahiliyyah means the uneducated, illiterate Arabs, No, my God. If you read about that, the burning our daughters, very girls, naked, roaming around, what and what not. All of that. But now this was a special occasion because Hajj is going on and Nabi doesn't want any of the practice from Jahiliyyah era. So this also, once you observe, even if he observes any of it, he would immediately abrogate it. There is a Ramal now. Ramal is there going on. Okay, now see it. The Nabi Sallallahu performed Ramal in the first 3 circuits. So basically Ramal, walking, I want to really highlight this with little fast. We'll read about this. In the first 3 rounds of the 7 rounds, returning to the regular place in the remaining 4. Bukhari Hadith 1644. Now Ramal, it is a practice of walking quickly. You walk little quickly like a warrior, as if you are leading in a battle, as if you are in a battle, not leading, lifting the legs little forcefully. Your legs, you will try to pretty much like briskly walking briskly. Not possible now in crowded times. Sunnah, sticking out the chest. You have to puff out little chest, as if like a warrior. We'll see, read over here. Sticking out the chest so as to imitate a warrior. This originated in 7 Hijrah, just 3-4 years before, when Nabi Sallallahu and his companions came to Makkah to perform Umrah. That Umrah of 7. So because they had won the battle in the first 3 rounds, they just tried to imitate that. We won the battle. Makkah is now ours. We will read now. We have a narration from Abdullah ibn Abbas, son of Abbas, radiallahu anhu. So when Allah's messenger and his companions came to Makkah, the pagans circulated the news that a group of people were coming to them. They had been weakened by the fever of Medina. So the Prophet ﷺ offered his companions to do Ramal in the first 3 rounds of Tawaf and to walk between the 2 corners, Hajj, Aswad and Rukn. I mean, Prophet did not order them to do in all the rounds of Tawaf out of pity for them. Now, what happened basically when he had first come to Makkah, okay, for his first Umrah, the pagans circulated, the non-Muslim, they circulated the group of people, Nabi Sallallahu and his group is coming, and they had been weakened by the fever of Yathrib. It's like, there was a fear of them that people of Yathrib had come. Nabi Sallallahu told his companions to do Ramal. He told his companions that we will do the first 3 circuits, we will walk little faster, and doing our, protruding our chest, to walk between the 2 corners, of course the Hajar al-Aswad and the opposite corner, Rukn al-Yamani. So from there to here we will walk little faster, to this and to that. The Prophet did not order to them to do, this was only because of what Nabi the very reason behind this was this only. They were just, because it's like as if like they wanted to display that they have come in from Medina to Makkah after winning a battle. And there is again a hadith from Umar ibn al-Khattab here about Ramal. There is no reason for us to perform Ramal because we only wanted to show off. We only wanted to show the non-Muslims, the pagans, the idol worshippers who were, because until now victory had not come. The victory only came 2 years later, 1 year later, 8-year Hajj. So this was the first where they got the permission, now Allah has destroyed them. Okay, they wanted to indicate to non-Muslims that Khalas, Islam is coming and the idol worship is going to get destroyed. Nevertheless, the Prophet performed. We did not want to abandon this sunnah and they were doing it. Al-Bukhari Hadith. We can also do this. The first 3 circuits we try to walk briskly with our chest little golden and briskly between Hajar al-Aswad and Rukn al-Yamani. Though there is no harm if you are not doing it. There is one paragraph of Hajar al-Aswad now we are coming, and this is an old picture of Hajar al-Aswad. MashaAllah. Let us read about Hajar al-Aswad now. We have 3-4 narrations here. Now, during each circuit, Nabi Sallallahu touched and kissed the Hajar al-Aswad. During every circuit, every tawaf, he will touch Hajar al-Aswad and kiss. And also Rukn al-Yamani. Just will open it to put more clarity to all the readers and listeners. See, Rukn al-Yamani is here. it is situated on the southwestern corner. We can see from the diagram, opposite Hajar al-Aswad, other end of the southern wall. And its name is derived because it is facing Yemen. According to tradition, Prophet ﷺ, it has the capability of absolving all sins. It is sunnah to touch the corner if possible. Okay, just at the opposite end, and it is called Yamani Rukn because it is facing towards Yemen. Now, Nabi Sallallahu did not neglect touching Rukn al-Yamani and Hajar al-Aswad in each of his tawaf. Abu Dawud, 1876. So he's touching. So while he's doing a circuit, he would also touch Hajar al-Aswad and also touch Rukn al-Yamani. There is a narration from Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu that Prophet ﷺ touched the Rukn when he was touching the Rukn al-Yamani. Very informative for all of you Muhrims, whoever will be doing it. Bismillahi wallahu akbar when he will touch the Rukn al-Yamani stone. And when he came to the Hajar al-Aswad, he would proclaim Allahu Akbar. So at Hajar al-Aswad, Allahu Akbar. At Rukn al-Yamani, Bismillahi wallahu akbar. Every tawaf. And the Prophet ﷺ would also kiss his hand. He will kiss his hand after touching the Hajar al-Aswad. So he will touch the Hajar al-Aswad, that palm he would take to his beloved lips and he'll kiss. And then performing istilam. So istilam is same. It is without doing from far direction, if you are for a distance, because you are not able to put your lips on Hajar al-Aswad. So you will do that istilam. And there is a narration from Nafi radiallahu anhu that I saw Ibn Umar touching the stone with his hand and then kissing his hand. He will touch the Hajar al-Aswad and he'll kiss his hand. And he said, I have never abandoned it since I saw Allah's Messenger also doing it. Sahih Hadith, Muslim. So Nabi Sallallahu did it, the Sahabas were doing it. And from that Sahaba we have this narration. And we also still keep on doing it. Moving ahead, Prophet ﷺ instructed Umar radiallahu anhu, his companion, on how to behave when there were crowds around the Hajar. See now Nabi is going to give guidance about how to manage the crowd. That we will, all these years, the management, the authorities keep on guiding the pilgrims that it is crowded, far too much crowd is there. So it is very difficult to manage all of this, and in this situation, try to be cordial and cooperative towards your fellow pilgrims. Now see, that time also when there is this measurable, reasonable amount of people which had gathered to do this Hajj and Tawaf is going on, here also Nabi Sallallahu is going to educate it. Why? He is strongest companion, Hazrat Umar. He will tell him, Ya Umar, you are a strong man, but don't jostle at the stone. See how Nabi Sallallahu is. What an articulate person. Unbelievable. What knowledge, what understanding, so sensitive. He is choosing the proper person. You remember during the time of Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, when his time was going on, so he would tell Hazrat Abu Bakr that why are you angry, so he would know his nature. Now over here he is telling Umar because he is the strong warrior, he would win participate in all the battles. So he would choose him only and say, see, you are stoned, but don't jostle to kiss, don't try to push and jostle, perhaps harming someone who is weak, because in this situation a stronger person might be able to access Hajar, but it might do damage to a person who is weaker, like older people. So if you should find the way to clear, okay, salute it, do istilam, otherwise face it and say Allahu Akbar, I am a Salafi. So you don't have to go and jostle and kiss the Hajar. So see, mashallah, what hadith. From here we come to know that you don't have to jostle and run and push people to go near to Hajar al-Aswad and try to kiss it. So if you are not getting the opportunity to kiss Hajar al-Aswad, please do the istilam. Very simple, istilam, very simple. So again, I have to read the footnote because far more integral over here of importance. So it is the act of kissing Hajar al-Aswad, gesturing towards it at the beginning of the Kaaba, when you start the tawaf, when you end the tawaf at the Hajar al-Aswad. And practice is very simple. Place your arms on Hajar al-Aswad, put your face between two hands, say Bismillah Wallahu Akbar, like this. To two-face. This is Istilam. Allahu Akbar. And kiss Hajar al-Aswad 3 times without making a kissing noise. Okay? So now in this footnotes you can see like this. So avoid placing your forehead on Hajar al-Aswad if you want to practice Rasulullah. He wouldn't put his forehead. It is being specifically mentioned over here. He would kiss. He didn't put his forehead, number 1. Number 2, if possible, avoid touching the silver surrounding Hajar al-Aswad. And Istilam from a distance. Now this is the do Istilam. If you are near to the Hajar al-Aswad, okay, don't put your forehead, just kiss it with lips. And put your palms on Hajar al-Aswad and then put your face between 2 hands and just kiss it. Don't put your forehead. But if you are Istilam from a distance, if Hajar al-Aswad is inaccessible, which is likely to be the case, Istilam can be performed from from. Now how face raise your hands up to your earlobes as you are lying to do a salah. Ensure your palms are also facing it, okay, like this. And as your face and hands are on Hajar al-Aswad, imagine you are like on Hajar al-Aswad and they say Bismillah Wallahu Akbar and then kiss your palms without making a noise like this. So as if like you imagine you have done your salah. Okay. Very informative, very knowledgeable. Majority of my fellow brothers and sisters might be aware of it. Who are not, please try to spread to them. If I am able to, you are accessible to me, alhamdulillah. If you are not, Google it and please spread it to your brothers and fellow people who are going to do the Umrah. We'll try to be a little faster. When the Prophet ﷺ performed tawaf while riding on his camel at a later stage during the Hajj, he pointed to Hajar al-Aswad with his stick and proclaimed takbir. Here they are just adding on another section to again emphasize on this point that it is not imperative, it is not compulsory, not necessary to go and kiss the Hajar al-Aswad. Because at the later stages of the Hajj, which is not relevant over here, but at the later stages, Nabi Sallallahu even pointed his stick. Okay, he was riding on his camel. From there he put his stick and said takbir, Allahu Akbar. We have a narration from Abdullah ibn Abbas. Allah's Messenger ﷺ performed the tawaf around the Kaaba while riding his camel. He has done his tawaf while riding his camel. Sahih Hadith, Bukhari 1632. And every time when he will come at the Hajar al-Aswad, he pointed it like with something in his hand and say Allahu Akbar with the stick also. Just trying to emphasize that he can't now go to Hajar al-Aswad. So he can do it from distance also. Now he didn't touch the Kaaba, neither he handled the 2 remaining corners of it. So it is not compulsory. Please don't forcify yourself and force on others also. And try to put others' lives, and majority of the moorings I see from principally these places like Syria, Iman, I do not know educated or no, and they put so much harm to other fellow pilgrims just doing this. And okay, if you are not able to do it, don't. If you are able to do, alhamdulillah. We try to finish here at completing the tawaf. Very fast we will do. Between every his tawaf is going on. We are all reading his tawaf still not finished. It is only tawaf which is going on. The kissing, we all know the tawaf is going on, and we are knowing about his gestures. Now we are coming to know about. We are going to read which dua he read between the corners. So as he walked between Rukn al-Yamani and Hajar al-Aswad from one end to another end, so it is like the Kaaba and one end and another end. So he will complete a full circle from Aswad to Aswad. From Aswad to Rukn al-Yamani, a semicircle is there. So in this middle of this portion, he would read Rabbana Atina Fid Dunya Baqarah 201. Very famous dua. Ya Allah, give us good in this world. Rabbana Atina Fid Dunya, in this world Hasana, good deeds. Wafil Akhirat Hasana. Okay, so give us good deed in this world also, give us good in the next world also. After our world, there is a world where we are going to go, and that is our world after our life. Akhirah. Qina Azaban Nar. Qina means guard. So guard us from Azab. The Nar means fire. The fire, just a funny thing which come to my mind. This is the hot season going on in Saudi Arabia. The temperatures easily reach very common 45 to 50. We have now adjusted ourselves to with this temperature. Our ACs will eventually start not to work and finish. They would not operate. So we have pretty much expecting the ACs will turn in operation in some time. We will be pretty much ready for it. Anyway, here whenever we will try to, every day this is the common thing. We'll try to explain the situation. We will say to our fellow brothers and friends, Nar. This is Nar Jahannam, as is the fire of the Jahannam, the fire of the hell. Every time. So whenever the temperature is 45-50, we will say, and can you imagine, it's just a funny thing, it's a joke. But the fire of Jahannam can't even imagine. It's 50 degree only. So that is it. We pray this also, my fellow brothers and sisters, whenever you do Hajj or Umrah, between this circle, Rabbana atina fid dunya wa fil akhirati hasana aqina azab an-nar. So the fires, torment of the fire, please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us. Very famous ayah, Baqarah 221. Now, du'a at Mizab al-Rahman. You know Mizab al-Rahman? He passed Mizab al-Rahman. Now, Mizab al-Rahman, let's try to read about it. I'm also not aware of it. So Mizab al-Rahman, it will be in the middle of the Kaaba only. It's like here, see. It is a water spout projecting, that one, Mizab, that spout which is there from where the water comes, and from the top. Oh my God, now it is already plated by gold. And you know, I also read about it that these nails, thorn like nail structures, pointed structures have been fit on it, because the birds will not sit on it. If the birds will do, they will do their shits there, so that would dirty it. Here, Nabi Sallallahu would read this dua whenever he will pass. Allahumma inni as'aluka Allahumma inni as'aluka rahat. So ya Allah, Allahumma inni, definitely I ask you for comfort at the time of dread. Rahat. Okay, I comfort at the time of rahat. Indal maut. At the time of my death, I ask for rahat. Allah's Nabi is praying. And wal afwa indal hisab. Afwa means forgive. So I am asking for forgiveness at the time of reckoning, when you will do my hisab. What a dua. See, what a dua. And what a dua. Allahumma inni as'aluka rahat indal maut. At the time of death, Ya Rab, please give me rahat. But at the same time, wal afwa indal hisab. At the time of my hisab, Ya Rab, please, I expect forgiveness from me. Moving ahead, he is going to now finish his tawaf, and we will finish our lecture. We have this hadith, Sunan al-Kawbara. Prophet ﷺ completed the tawaf, he kissed the Hajj. So whenever the circuit will finish, he will do his Istalam. But it was his primary, so he is kissing with his beloved lips before putting his hands upon it and then wiping his face with it. So he will put his hand, he will kiss with his lips, and that hands which he had done, he would wipe on his face like this. But again, I will try to iterate the point. He would never put his forehead, so don't try to put your forehead. Okay, so here the narration was from Jabir radiallahu anhu, who told us about the kissing of Hajar al-Aswad, and we are finishing our lecture over here. Again, thank you so much, dear viewers, that you have come over here and read my lecture. Please subscribe to my channel, keep on subscribing to my channel, keep on watching it, keep on watching these lectures. If not, you are not able to, please at least spread to the people who are wanting to, at least give them knowledge about my lecture, and if possible, please I request, give a thumbs up. Thank you for watching. Bye. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.